Siena Heights University has studied opportunities to enhance the university. Over the past 10 years, our university has grown and improved on campus. During this time, we have seen the addition of new educational programs and buildings on campus. However, the biggest growth has come at Siena Heights University Athletics. We have seen the addition of the Spencer Complex, the Joseph McLaughlin Baseball Stadium, and the soon-to-be renovated Christensen Memorial Softball Field, hopefully starting soon. We have added a number of sports during this time and have more than doubled our student-athlete population on campus. Our most recent addition came in 2019 when we announced the Siena Heights men's wrestling program to return to campus. This was an exciting day on campus, as we know we sit in a hotbed for wrestling. However, today is even more exciting as we are announcing a totally new program that has never been a part of Siena Heights University. Today, we announce for the first time ever the addition of women's wrestling to Siena Heights University Athletics. But what is more thrilling than that is who has been selected to lead the inaugural program. I guess I could take it. It is with great pleasure that I announce the first ever women's wrestling coach in Dominic Adams. Dominic comes to us with a great deal of experience in women's wrestling. It was important for our search committee as we found someone that had experience coaching women and in women's wrestling. He has experience in coaching in the NAIA and in our region. Dominic has also coached for USA Michigan Women's Wrestling and is well known in the women's circuit. Besides all of experience, there was one thing that continued to come up during our interview process, and that was the amount of genuine care and love he has for his student athletes. He is a coach of character that will lead our inaugural program. For all these reasons and more, it was great pleasure we announced for the first time ever, the first coach ever, Dominic Adams as the women's wrestling coach at Siena Heights University. Help me welcome.
Thank you. This is an exciting time for me. I'm very grateful to Sue, the search committee in Siena Heights University, for this fantastic opportunity. It's going to provide another opportunity for women to compete at the collegiate level, both locally in Michigan and throughout the region and the country. You know, I chose Siena Heights because the values of this institution align with my values. Every team I coach, our values are rooted in love, family, and fun. And throughout my entire time here at Siena Heights, talking with people during the interview process, walking through campus, just over and over again, that was reinforced. I look forward to hitting the ground running and building this inaugural team to compete next year. And we're gonna look for girls who wanna work hard in the classroom, work hard in the wrestling room, and have fantastic character. I really believe that wrestling is a great opportunity to provide an education for families. There's a lot of families like myself. I paid most of my way through college, right? I relied on scholarships and financial aid and things like that, right? And that's why wrestling's such a great sport, because it's, provides entry for a lot of first-generation families. And I look forward to hitting the ground running and finding future Saints women's wrestlers.
All right, we'll open it up to any questions anybody has.
Dominic, you've been involved in women's wrestling kind of since the beginning of the sport's rise to where it currently is. Could you kind of walk us through that process? How did women's wrestling become the fastest growing sport in the United States for young women as far as college scholarships go?
So, I graduated from high school in Fenton High School in 2002. You would see girls wrestling occasionally, but there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities. They could wrestle on a men's team, and that was it. And still, to this day, that's a lot of the only options for a lot of young ladies who want to enter the sport. Kent Balo started the USGWA, and he went all over the country providing girls' state tournaments, and that was kind of the start. And then Brent Harvey took over when that kind of folded and created War of the Roses girls wrestling series to give young ladies an opportunity to not just be at a boys tournament and have a girls division, but to have their own venue, to have their own stage. And from there, what's really made the sport grow is just opportunities, right? It doesn't make any sense that the only option for girls in a combat sport is to wrestle boys, right? So at some point, I have a daughter, she wrestled, in the middleweights, and when she got up into her older years in high school, you could just see it was tough for her. And so those girls-only opportunities is what kept her in the sport, having an opportunity where she didn't have to wrestle against boys if she didn't want to. And so that's how, just states getting on board and understanding that, we're ignoring half the population and not giving them an opportunity. When they started realizing the impact they could make, it just started growing like wildfire.
Coach, going on your experience, I know you've been a part of several college programs that were either new or starting. Adrian College is an example. You were there for the women's program when it was still relatively new. And then Lourdes, you were there from building it from scratch. So how has that experience helped you, or how do you think that experience will help you now that you get to be the head coach of a program that you get to build yourself?
So like in wrestling, there's a saying, you don't lose, you learn. And so I've had the great, fortune to learn a lot, both as a competitor and as a coach, right? So seeing what works well, what maybe doesn't work so well, stumbling, failing, getting back up, and basically in wrestling, you just got to find a way. That's why I love this sport, and it's the same way building a program. You just have to find a way, and there's all kinds of creative ways to find solutions, and I think that's why I love coaching so much, because one lady might be completely different from another lady on our team in terms of their technique and their character or their personalities, right? And so the ability to be able to structure to what can allow them to be successful, I think, is imperative. And so also over the years I've had a lot of great mentors, both at Adrian, at Lourdes, when I was a high school coach, and they really, went above and beyond to show me it's not just about wrestling, right? It's more to, any sport is more than just the X's and O's or the actual technique. And so I'm grateful to have learned from other fantastic leaders in this sport as well.
Is there anything that particularly excites you about the college level club or youth?
Yeah, so women's wrestling is freestyle, which is my favorite, second behind Greco, and you score a lot of points in a very quick amount of time, and I think, so that's one thing. The other reason I was drawn to coaching women was I had a mentor, Brent Harvey, and he used to say, there's 1 million people doing this for men, and there's not enough people doing it for girls, right? I remember one experience, as a family we were going through a rough time, and Brent said, well, why don't you bring Anna we're going to Pennsylvania. You can ride with me, we're going to go to do a couple tournaments in Pennsylvania, and it totally kind of flipped the switch and helped us as a family get through that time. And I think I have 4 older sisters, so I've always grown up around young ladies, and I just think coaching women, coaching freestyle wrestling is for me a lot more in my wheelhouse than say folk style.
What about this opportunity at Siena Heights University kind of excited you and made you A, want to apply, and B, when you got the job, just talk a little bit about the university. I know you mentioned in your opening statement that it kind of aligns with some of your values too, but just talk a little bit about being here, what it means.
Yeah, so this is one of the best places for wrestling in the state of Michigan, and so why not here, right? And just down the road, Clinton High School, their girls team, they won the state championship. So there's a lot of high quality wrestling in this area, and I just think it's a great opportunity for people will drive hours to get girls only instruction, because they may or may not have it. They may or may not have that in their area, and so just to be able to provide a pathway to training and to college for young ladies in this region and in this state is really exciting. I think there's with Coach on the men's side, there's a momentum that's picking up, and in very short time I think people are going to be surprised because it's going to be exciting to come here and support both the men's and women's program. We're going to have top-notch student athletes, and so I think it's going to be a draw.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot for your time, and congratulations, and welcome to Siena Heights University.
Thank you.